It's that time of year, ladies and gentlemen. Xbox Showcase predictions, dressed for the occasion. This time I don't have my lovely little stamps. My printer ran out of ink. I apologize, but we're going to do things a little more digital. The all-digital future, if you will. Hopefully not a bad omen. We're still going to have our stamp meta. Don't worry, like our old videos. We're going to still do stamps, just virtually this time. Anyways, we're running down all of the Xbox first-party lineup. Who will be there? Who won't be there? I clearly have the definitive say here, so allow me, everyone, to take all of the embarrassment from you and make wild predictions on your behalf. On top of that, we're going to get into Xbox Game Studios publishing, what they may be bringing to the table, and of course, Game Pass predictions, surprise reveal predictions, and off-the-wall predictions. We already know Starfield's going to be there. We already know that Forza Motorsport's going to be there. We're going to leave those to the wayside. I want to start off with Bethesda Game Studios. Let's set the tone, shall we? I feel like this has got to be the year. And I say that every year. So I'm just getting it out of my system now. I feel like this has to be the year that I get my Fallout 3 and New Vegas collection. Why is that? Well, god damn it, I've asked for it long enough. I feel like with Fallout's TV show on the horizon, it's time to strike. But more than anything, let's talk facts, let's talk reason, because you know I'm really reasonable when it comes to Fallout collections, right? Seriously though, Fallout 76 typically gets its roadmap when it's March, April, every year. It's June, my friends, and we still don't have a roadmap, part of my enthusiasm. So I'm wondering if they're like, dang, something else is cooking. Let's go for a big Fallout blowout, something along those lines. I don't know, but I'm putting it out into the ether once more. Fallout collection, it's got to happen one of these years. I'll be right. Okay, now for more serious predictions. 343 is up next. We're going in alphabetical order. 343, Halo Infinite. Yeah, you know what? I feel like I would love to see them sit this one out. Season 4 is just about to drop, and they're doing a great job with Infinite right now. They're picking things up gradually, and I think that's good. But when they return to the spotlight, which they've been in a negative way for a while, when they put themselves on stage, I want it to be for good reason. I want it to be a massive expansion for Halo Infinite, a massive turning point that brings a lot of eyes to the product. I just can't imagine with all the changes in leadership, the re-steering of the ship in general, that all of a sudden they're going to have something massive to present to us. A lot of people have talked about with Certain Affinity and Project Tatanka, aka the Battle Royale mode, that's going to be added to Halo Infinite. Will that be there? It seems like a possibility, but I also just wonder if with everything that happened with Halo Infinite and its player base, did at any point someone stop and say, is Battle Royale really going to help us? Who knows? Maybe they have a special flavor to it that will really reinvigorate that genre. But it feels like, I hate to say it, modern gaming problems, a thing of the past. You know, that was something we were injecting in our games in 2019, 2020, and now here we are in 2023 maybe with that. So for me, my prediction is, I think 343 is going to sit this one out. Arcane's up next. Redfall, Deathloop, other amazing video games. Okay. I'm going to say no. Pretty obvious no on this one. I mean, Redfall came and did what it did. Deathloop, it's still only, you know, what, 2 years old now, so I don't think Leon's got anything up their sleeve. It's pretty obvious they're working on Deathloop 2, but I think this is a pretty obvious no-show, and I think that'll be good. Let's clear some distance between Redfall and the next reveal and let people forget and heal a little bit. The Coalition. This is one I get asked about a ton. People want to know what's happening with Gears next. We know that Gears 6 is going to be on Unreal Engine 5. We know that Coalition has been splitting their efforts, doing a lot of tech assistance across Xbox Game Studios. I think we're a ways away from seeing Gears 6. However, I will put a maybe on the Coalition appearing. The reason I say this is because I think it's possible we finally see that rumored Gears collection. There's no denying that with Gears 6 on the horizon, which is supposed to be the finale, that Gears 2 and 3, arguably some of the favorites, are the odd men out right now on current consoles. You look at Gears 1 with Ultimate Edition, that's great. All good to go. You look at Gears 4 and 5, of course those are great to go. But then 2 and 3 are just sitting there desperately needing some type of upgrade. Granted, there's back compat, you can still play them online, there are people still playing, but I could see a reality where, based off Phil Spencer promising collections, that one of those collections is Gears. However, I have a much more firm pick on that. This one though, it's a maybe. If Coalition shows up, I think it's in the capacity of a Gears collection. If I'm wrong, I won't be too surprised. Compulsion Games, developers of We Happy Few and Contrast. I'm going to say yes on this one, because Aaron Greenberg confirmed that we're going to get in-engine shots at the very least when it comes to these first-party studios, and I feel like the 2018 lineup is here to show out. And so I think Compulsion Games has to be part of that. We're going to hear from Playground. We'll talk about that later. We're going to hear about Compulsion, etc., etc. I think these teams are going to show up and announce what they're working on, because in my opinion, this is one of those, okay, what's beyond what's happening for Xbox pretty much after 2023 into late 2024, and I feel like this game will find itself there. We've seen that they've hired a community manager. To me, that also indicates that there's got to be some type of announcement on the way, because they haven't posted anything on their social accounts since October of last year. So I'm going to say yes for Compulsion Games, and we're going to see Project Midnight, which was leaked by Jez Corden years ago. It's described as a third-person video game, much more higher budget potentially compared to what we saw with We Happy Few, and not procedural, not early access. Truly what Compulsion is capable of, because while some people dunk on We Happy Few, I thought the game was honestly really cool in the terms of atmosphere. I couldn't stand the procedural stuff, but atmosphere, tone, some of those story elements were great. I just wish there was more of that, and I think with Xbox at their back, they should be able to deliver that. So I look forward to hopefully seeing them at the showcase. Double Fine Productions. I'm going to say yes again. There's going to be a lot of yeses here. I hate to tell y'all, which leaves either a lot of room for me to be sorely disappointed or Xbox lining up for a showcase of dreams. But this is another one that I feel like I'd be foolish to say no to. When you look at the tease blatantly online by Tim Schafer, where we see things are coming to Game Pass from Double Fine, and there's 2 games with question marks next to them that have yet to be put into Game Pass. That's kind of weird. Oh, and then when you top that off, in the Psych Odyssey documentary for Psychonauts 2, they talk about how 2 games were put on pause to finish Psychonauts 2. I feel pretty confident in saying that this team is going to show up, and at least one of these 2 games is going to be revealed. What they are, I have no idea. I doubt it's going to be something like Psychonauts 2. I imagine it's something akin to Broken Age, one of those more point-and-click style adventure games, Grim Fandango, those types of games. id Software. Man, would I love to see Doom, would I love to see Quake. It's just, I think, too soon for them. You know, when you look at the DLC that's just come out for Eternal, not too far ago, obviously the full team not working on it, but Doom Eternal coming out in 2020, to me, this smells more like we'd see it at QuakeCon, maybe this year, but probably next year. There's been rumors of id working on a Quake reboot, which I think would be really cool. I do think that Doom Eternal was a great place to kind of cap things off and try something new. But ultimately, when it comes to id, I just don't think they're going to be at this showcase as much as I'd love to see them. The Initiative. I'll make this one quick for us. Hell no, they ain't going there. No way. We won't see them for another couple of years. We'll talk about this in E3 or whatever we're going to call it then. Summer Showcase 2025. See you then. In Exile Entertainment, developers of Wasteland, developers of the rumored Project Cobalt. I'm going to say maybe on this one. I know it's kind of cheap answer, but I really feel like this is one I got to straddle the line on. Wasteland 3 comes out in 2020, and it is one of the best RPGs that you can play still to this day. However, again, the DLC support goes into 2021, and you're telling me that Cobalt should be ready to be shown off by that point, especially when it's described as a really ambitious AAA first-person shooter. If you were to ask me, I feel like that's a ways away, strictly because In Exile, while extremely talented, it's going to be a new flavor for them, right? Compared to their more hardcore top-down RPGs like Wasteland 2, 3, Bard's Tale, first person, so on and so forth. I feel like this is going to be far more ambitious, and you should take time to let that tech cook, especially because it's apparently an Unreal Engine 5 video game. With that all said, the reason I say maybe is not because of Project Cobalt. While I'd love to see this game that was also reported by Jez Corden, I say maybe because I feel like there's got to be someone working on Fallout, and I'm willing it to existence again. I'm going to say that In Exile is working on a Fallout Tactics style video game. By that I mean the Fallout that we know from 1 and 2, but it's a brand new game. To me, the idea that they're just going to abandon the Wasteland engine and all of the assets there, the post-apocalyptic assets, by the way, seems so foolish on a creative level and a business decision. There's something there that has to be cooking. I feel like if you're going to use the Wasteland engine once more before Cobalt or while Cobalt is cooking, it's got to be Fallout. If it's more Wasteland, hell yeah, it's pretty much Fallout. In that case, I am perfectly happy with that. Machine Games, developers of Wolfenstein and now Indiana Jones. I'm going to say yes to this one. I think Machine Games finally shows up. We've been wondering for so dang long, what is this team working on? Is it Wolfenstein 3? Is it Indiana Jones? You see, we were promised years ago Indiana Jones 3. Well, we still have no idea, and in between now and then, we got an announcement for Indiana Jones. Now, I can understand why after how poorly Wolfenstein 2 sold, perhaps. Now, I can understand after the sales of Wolfenstein 2 being a little soft and Youngblood doing Youngblood things, that maybe Machine said, you know what, let's take our talents over to indie. I get all of that, but man, do I want to see the conclusion to Wolfenstein 3. And there have been, as I covered previously, job listings to suggest that it is likely still something in active development. However, Indiana Jones could be just as likely. I mean, the movie's coming out this month. I don't care if it's mid or not. The movie's coming out this month. It's a good time to remind people the game does exist, that there is more happening in the Indiana Jones franchise. But I just think no matter what, the answer is yes, we got to learn what's going on with Machine Games. They've been quiet for far too long. Their last actual video game release was Wolfenstein 2. Now, you can count Youngblood, but that was a split effort between Machine Games and Arcane. So I feel like it's been long enough where we got to know what this team is working on, whether it's in gameplay or in engine. It's been in limbo for so long. Development hell clearly ensued at some point. It's anybody's guess, but yes, I think Machine Games will be there and finally confirming what's next from them. Ninja Theory, developers of Hellblade. This is a hell yeah, it'll be there. Oh my God, are you kidding? I think this game's coming out this year. I truly think that Hellblade 2 is going to release at the end of this year, November or December. If it's in early 2024, I also wouldn't be too surprised, but I just feel like the way Phil let the lineup slip during that kind of funny interview, we went Starfield, Forza, Hellblade, that was to me just bleh. I just vomited out our entire holiday lineup, and that sounds like a dang good one to me, and a very convincing pipeline at that, where Hellblade would size up as the holiday title for Xbox in their attempt to get quarterly releases going. So for me personally, I think not only is Hellblade 2 going to be there, I think it's going to be dated. I think we're going to get gameplay finally. I think this is going to be a show out moment. And I will even say, I think Hellblade 2 is the show opener. I think we start this thing off with Hellblade 2. I go back and forth between this one and Avowed. I feel like both would be fantastic starting points, but I can't imagine you end the show with Avowed when Starfield's up next, because then you got two very similar style games. I feel like you got to end the showcase with something more wondrous, which I'll let you know what that prediction is. But when it comes to Hellblade 2, baby, I think it's opening the show, setting the tone, where you see that, and then you get the Phil Spencer or Sarah Bond exec shot, and it leads into the showcase afterwards. I think this is the perfect way to break things open and let people know it's not just Starfield. You got something else coming this year. Now check out everything else. Again, I think it sends a perfect message, and I'm excited to see some Hellblade 2. Obsidian Entertainment. Their back has to be sore after 2022, and I think it's going to get a little bit more sore because I think we are going to see Avowed. When Phil said that he's been seeing great builds of Avowed, to me that was all the confirmation I personally needed. But before that even, I think back to when the game was first shown off in 2020, and they said that we'd see more soon. And yeah, well, that soon is now. I think it's been a couple of years. It's time to get an update on Avowed, which is Obsidian's next big video game. And again, this is where I talk about the class of that 2018-19. You're up. It's time to show us. It's time to show what you've been working on and to get people to buy into this generation, because Xbox, if they have a chance to show what the first party is working on, oh man, are they set up for one hell of a showcase when you look at what happened with PlayStation and how that was the expectation going in, and we didn't get anything close to that. I think it's going to be a potential show opener, but I still feel very confident that that's going to be Hellblade 2. Does it get dated? I'm going to say a window. I'm going to say it gets a 2024 window. Keep it lucid, keep it open, keep it airy. Don't hard commit to this one, but let people know it's coming next year and sell us on some gameplay. Especially because when you look back at Jez Corden's report of the alpha and apparently some retooling since then, it's possible this game may have co-op. It's possible this game has more pillars elements than we expected in the environmental interaction department. I mean, there's so much here that I feel needs to be answered. Part of that's just as a fan who's, seen the leaks, right? But also, I think if you're Xbox, this is one that I think it's time to show. Playground Games, talk of the town for sure. Developers of Forza Horizon, but more importantly for this conversation, Fable. This is the show ender. Yes, I think Playground will be there. I really have to go ahead and call a cap on myself. I would never have predicted this if Xbox didn't tease it. This was not on my list, and part of me almost wishes if it ends up showing up there that Xbox held it back and didn't tease anything at all. Because this would have been oh my god, what? Fable's here? And does this one get a date? Again, I'm going back to the window. I think Xbox doesn't want to lock themselves down too tight. We saw what happened with Starfield committing years away. We saw what happened with Redfall. The double delay hurts them. Keep it as a year window to allow yourself to kind of be nimble and quietly delay stuff without too many questions being asked. Protect yourselves a little bit, but let people know more stuff is coming next year. I think Fable becomes 2024's maybe late summer or early fall type of video game, but I just feel seeing this one will get people talking, and I think it's going to be the one that closes out the showcase. I just feel this is the message that's going to be sent. One of the major tent poles for Xbox is back. Hopefully it looks incredible. We know there's genuine enthusiasm from multiple execs within the company to show this one off. So I feel like for all of them, it just feels right to end things on this note and then transition into the Starfield showcase, which is something much more close and also something that's much more different, right? You get your fantasy and your sci-fi, and it kind of speaks to the diversity of Xbox. Rare, the developers of Sea of Thieves, as well as Everwild. Yes, I think this one is a given. Not because we're going to get an Everwild update. I would love to know more about Everwild. I saw Andy Robinson mention that it's more Viva Pinata now than survival game, which is kind of fire. However, when it comes to Rare, it's just going to be a very simple, here's your new Sea of Thieves update. This is one of Xbox's killer games that no one talks about. The player count is insane. And I'm going to predict that this is going to be another Disney-style crossover. Pirates of the Caribbean did really well, brought a lot of players to the game, a focus on single player, and a lot of people were just actually talking about Sea of Thieves beyond the player base, which is huge. So I feel like they're going to dip into that again with another surprise announcement. What IP that is? I don't know, Little Mermaid? That might make some sense. So I'm gonna go with that. I don't know. That's a wild pick, but I'm feeling wild. That's all there is to it. Roundhouse Studios. We don't know what the hell they're working on, but they've been working on something for almost 4 years now. I'm going to say yes. I think this is going to be Spy Team, personally. And I think it's going to be a multiplayer-driven style game. I don't know what's going to happen during it, but just Spy Team speaks to me, multiplayer. You got almost 4 years in the can. I think this is one that shows up surprises, maybe coming out mid-2024. But yeah, I think it's time to finally learn what Roundhouse has been working on outside of helping out with Redfall. Tango Gameworks, the developers of The Evil Within, as well as Hi-Fi Rush and Ghostwire Tokyo. They've actually been very busy. We got last year Ghostwire Tokyo. This year we got Hi-Fi Rush. I think we're not going to get any type of major new announcement like some people are asking Evil Within 3. I think that will happen because of the resurgence in survival horror. Bethesda and Xbox would be foolish not to dip back into that. But when it comes to Hi-Fi Rush, I mean, yeah, it kind of leaked, so I'm going to say yes. Kind of a cheap yes, but when you see 10 brand new achievements over on Steam without any type of detail whatsoever, it's the week of the showcase, I feel pretty confident saying, yeah, Hi-Fi Rush will be there, and we're going to get some type of update or DLC that's going to add something to the game. Maybe a new playable character would be really nice to see, but Tango will be there with a small update for Hi-Fi Rush, and I think that's great because it's one of those support pieces that bolsters the overall first-party presence. Undead Labs, developers of State of Decay. We know State of Decay 3 was shown off in a CG trailer in 2020. It feels like this should be about time to get an update on it, but I think with Undead Labs and the reported confusion in direction and teams kind of splitting up, trying to figure out where to go, this one's probably still a ways off. But seeing also that the Coalition is now coming in to help Undead Labs, to me doesn't really scream like, okay, we're ready to show out. It sounds like they're still building. So we'll see how exactly all of that comes together, but I don't think State of Decay 3 or Undead Labs will be here at all. World's Edge, developer of the Age of Empires series. Yes, I think a quick show up here. I think we're going to get Age of Empires 4 console announced, which will be a thing that you're going to see in the Game Pass card, no doubt about it. Like, look at all these games coming to Game Pass, and they're kind of reusing one from last year, but it counts because it's for console. It just makes the overall image at the end of the showcase look a little more appealing. Apparently, the console version for Age of Empires 2 is fantastic, so I think this is actually worth being excited for. I enjoyed Age of Empires 4 quite a bit, so bringing that to consoles will be great. Will be an announcement I pop for? No, but still, I am thinking that this will be here. Xenomax Online Studios, responsible for Elder Scrolls Online and now developing a brand new IP. I'm going to say no, because Aaron Greenberg said no CGI, and maybe it could be in engine. It's possible, but the more I think on it, and every MMO that's ever revealed, it doesn't start off with gameplay. It's usually like, here's the world that we're going to be in, especially with a new IP. Here's the world you're going to be in, and kind of painting that picture and then gameplay later. So I feel like if there's no CG, as confirmed by Aaron Greenberg, then that probably means no MMOs. And that would probably mean no ZeniMax Online Studios game. So I'm going to go under the assumption that when it comes to ZeniMax Online Studios, they will not be at the Xbox Game Showcase. Now it's time to talk about Xbox Game Studios publishing. There is Contraband. I think it's time to see this one again. Yes, I remember the initial report in passing, at least, was sometime in like late 2022, early 2023. Obviously, that's come and gone. So I feel like an update on this one, getting some gameplay as well. This is one of the CG reveals, would make some sense. This is one that I know Xbox invested in heavily with Avalanche, and I love the idea of this heist-based multiplayer game. I think that's going to be a big driver for Game Pass potentially, so I think this is one that they definitely want to show out for. Do we get more on Kojima's video game? No, I think that one's still years away, especially with its major focus on the cloud. They announced a partnership last year, so to just have that inked was significant. That's probably years down the line as well. I'm talking Perfect Dark, Everwild kind of territory. There's Project Belfry from Stoic Studio, and I think this is one that we're going to finally see. That was reported a while ago and was apparently supposed to come out last year. Obviously, it was never even shown off. So I feel like this is another one that can maybe turn up and get some people really talking about the diversity of Xbox, because it's described as almost a Dragon's Crown style game where you have a Belfry Tower, which is like your hub almost. So I think this would be a really nice surprise. All right, it's time for third-party predictions, Xbox Game Pass predictions, all that fun stuff. Here we go. I'm claiming this one, okay? Persona 3 Remake. Maddie, what, that leak? That's not a prediction. No. Don't you pull that on me, because during Defining Duke, I remember sitting there talking to my co-host, Lord Cognito, the week of the leak. Before it happened, though, before I was made aware of it, before it even came out, we sat there on a Wednesday recording, and I said, you know what would be a great kind of third-party pop type of announcement, because we were discussing what that could be. I said Persona 3 Remake would be one of those, and damn it all, I am claiming it, okay? Because I feel like the Atlas partnership was born last year, and it makes so much sense with the reports now that it's coming at the end of this year, Persona 3 Remake, that this would be revealed on the Xbox stage. Does it come into Game Pass, though? I'm gonna say no. I would love to see Xbox splash here, and I would love to see Sega expand their partnership with Xbox by bringing more stuff day one into Game Pass. But Persona is one of their cash cows, and the way it's lining up with these rumors is that we're going to get 2 Persona games next year in P5T, which sounds like Persona 5 Tactics, and Persona 6. And then we're also getting Persona 3 Remake this year. I think it eventually comes to Game Pass. I don't think it starts off that way. I think that with a single player remake type of RPG for Sega, it's probably just very easy sales. So go collect your bag, get the marketing money from Xbox, and let Xbox start building their JRPG brand around Persona, which I think benefits them greatly, because right now Final Fantasy, the other big poppin' RPG, is occupied. Rare's got to be coming back in some way, shape, or form with one of their IP. We've heard rumors about a Banjo-Kazooie something in development. I'm gonna say a Banjo remake happens. I feel like Xbox needs their kind of kid-friendly game, and I would love to see it be Banjo for a new generation. There's just so many Banjo games. A lot of people are like, why are they sitting on Banjo 3? Do they do that? I don't know. I feel like just a remake of the original could be really cool for Xbox, and kind of see them getting into the remake culture would be nice. I get why they've avoided it, but there are just so many dead IP they have that are resting there waiting to be used that I'd love to see them resurrect. This would be one of them. Another one though I'm going to throw out there, Conquer. Why did this idea come up? Look, Greenberg can put his hands up and say there was no tease here at all, but my man was eating ice cream from a nutty squirrel truck, and that's some Conquer vibes, man. I'm just saying. Conquer in today's audience, after what happened with High on Life, you can no longer tell me games are too mature, too many curse words, too adult-like, etc., to not sell. I think Conquer, if it comes back, would be a brilliant move if anyone has the guts to write it in such a manner that it is as disturbing as the first game was. But I feel like bringing this one back seems like one day a no-brainer. Is it at the showcase though? That would be one hell of a surprise, but I want to put it out into the ether. Of course, speaking of High on Life, I want to throw out there that I think the High on Life expansion will be here. This was already teased by Squanch Games, and I feel like if it's going to get a show anywhere in this type of environment, it's going to be at Xbox's stage and not something like Summer Games Fest. This is the biggest third-party day one Game Pass launch. If they got anything new to show off, it's going to be on Xbox's stage, and I feel like it's going to happen this year. Something that shows, hey, this is coming out at the end of this year, and kind of keeps people thinking of High on Life, and hopefully the gameplay improves, because I know a lot of people didn't like my review on it, but I was like, I love the kind of story writing BS here, but I mean, I cannot enjoy playing this game. Activision is a big question mark for a ton of people. Do you form that partnership more and weaken your argument against the CMA, the FTC? These are all fair points. I don't know, because at this point it's purely political. So I'm just going to throw out there that I think Odyssey, the brand new AAA survival game from Blizzard, is going to get announced. And if it does, it's going to be in Game Pass day one. I just feel like this is something that would send a really clear message to Xbox fans of like what that partnership could be like. And I just smell a day one Game Pass game from these two coming, right? There's something in my gut that's telling me that's what this is all about, right? It's not about logic and reasoning. It's about what my stomach is telling me. Last crazy prediction, the Nintendo partnership gets announced. There's been so many Switch teases, and I feel like it makes way more sense when a Switch 2 comes around with a stronger wireless adapter. But some announcement of an intent to work together to get Game Pass on the Switch would be insane to just cap it off as well. There's a lot of potential based off things brewing here, but these are my predictions for Xbox's 2023 showcase. I hope you all enjoyed. I'm looking forward to seeing your predictions down below, but I've ate enough of your time, so thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next video. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.